In today's video, we're going to be creating this two-page dynamic car sales analysis dashboard in Excel. Link to the dataset is in the description below. Okay, so I have my car sales data open. It's not in the CSV format. I saved the copy as an Excel format. So that's a better option when you want to make changes to a file. So I'll just suggest you save a copy, save as, and change the format and to save a copy in the Excel file. So without wasting more time, let's get right into it. So we have our dates, our year, brand, state. So brand is the brand of the cars, year is the year of manufacture of the vehicle, states, color, condition, which ranges from, I believe, is it anywhere from 6 to, I believe, still 50. We have body type, transmission, which is one of either automatic or manual, unit price, that's the price of each vehicle, the quantity sold, and the total sales. So without wasting much time, let's just get right into it. I'm going to select this date. I'm going to hold Control Shift, press the right arrow key, and then press the down arrow key. And with that, we've selected our entire table. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Control T. And now it wants to insert, it's going to create a table. And I'm going to leave this, my table has headers. So, okay. And with that, we have our table. And we can move on to create our KPIs. So the first items we are going to create are KPIs because we're going to have those cards to display certain information we want to see. So I'm going to go to this plus icon and just add a new sheet. And I'm going to double click this and then rename this to KPIs. Then what we're going to do next is we are going to insert a pivot table. So I'm going to come over to insert, and right here I'm going to select this option. I'm going to select pivot table, and I'm going to I'm going to write table. I wanted to write table 1 because I know that my table is table 1, but if you want to go to where the data is and then import it from the table directly, we'll go back to sales data. This prompt to still stay open. Then I'll select date just like I did. Control Shift down, and I've selected the entire thing, and you see that that's table 1. So from this point forward, anytime I want to create a pivot table, because we'll create multiple pivot tables, I'm always going to write table 1, and you know that I'm referencing this data right here. So I'm going to also select this option, and with that I'm going to select OK, and there we have that. We have pivot table 1, and we are going to use this to create our KPIs. Now the KPIs we need for this video is the total sales, the number of cars sold, the average unit price, and the number of brands. So let's start with the first one. We are going to get our total sales. We'll go to total sales. I'm just going to select it. Now you have two options. Either you check this box, let me uncheck it, or you can select total sales and drag it to values, and we have our total sales for all our vehicles. Now the second item we need is quantity. So we are just going to drag quantity and want to see how many vehicles was sold during the period of our data set. I don't know if I've said it before. If you want to get the data set is in the description below. So if you want to, and full disclaimer, it's an AI generated dataset. So if the dataset does not represent what you see in reality, you understand why it's an AI generated. I just wanted to work with a smaller dataset, and I just use AI. This is one of the places where AI can be useful. So now we have the quantity of vehicles in this dataset, and it's 777. Now the next item we are going to go for is the number of brands. So remember when we're creating this pivot table, I said select the, was it add table to, I'll explain it further. So I'm just going to go to brand, and I'm going to drag brand, and I'll bring it over here. And now what brand will do, it's basically just counting the rows on our brands column. So if you open our brand, if you go to the bottom, you go to the last item, you see I have 251. The first row is for the header, so you just counted. So we want to count the distinct values, because if you look at our brands, these are our brands right here in column C. We have Hyundai, Lotus, Bentley. So it's not 250 brands. There are certain amount of brands that are there, but we don't know how many brands there are. So we want to count them. So I'm going to come to these values and then right click, or just click this arrow and value field settings, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select distinct counts, and there we have it. We have the distinct counts of brands. So we have 21 car brands in our data set. If you let's create another, you don't need to follow along this, but I just want to demonstrate something. So let me insert another pivot table and show something. I'm going to delete this so you don't need to follow along. I'm going to create a pivot table. This time I won't check this. I'm just going to write. Remember, our data sets is all inside a single table called table one. Now you probably notice that this looks different from this. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to just go straight to brand, drag this here, and now we have count of brand 250. I'm going to do this, open value field settings, and you see that um, distinct count is not available anymore. And that was why I remember watching a video and someone explained it. I really don't understand why it's like that, but that is how it is. So I'm just going to Control Z to undo the creation of that pivot table. So that's what I did. I checked. So whenever I can, I tend to check it. But if I'm not going to count, do any sort of distinct count, I'm not going to do it. Now, if you want to use a formula, of course, Excel allows you to use a lot of formulas, and you want to do a dis- distinct count of the brands without using the pivot table. I'll just come to this bar here, and I'll just write the formula. So we'll use the equal sign, and I'm just going to write counts. We'll select count A. I use tab to enter. I'm going to write unique. Once again, tab to input that, and I'm going to write table 1. So we are referencing our data set. So table 1, and we have that option. Tab once again. This time I'm going to open a square bracket, and I'm going to write brand. Once again, tab to enter that. Close the square bracket, and we're going to close the two other brackets, and our formula is fine, and enter. We have 23. So that was a distinct count. This is a formula for checking how many car brands we have. If you want to use this, I'm just going to leave it here. I'm just going to name this field distinct counts. If you want to use either of these methods, it's all right. Or if you know any other method, you can go ahead and use that. I just wanted to show you another way to do this. The next thing we're going to add is the average unit price. So I'm going to go down to unit price, and I'm going to bring it down here. And now we have the sum of unit price. Once again, I'm going to do this value field settings, and I'm going to change it to average. So now this is the average of the unit price for all vehicles. Now, while I was doing this, I did some research, and I was thinking to myself, and you're probably thinking it to yourself, cars have different values. So maybe this may not be represented, it may not represent real life values, or it may not show this. And so there was something called a weighted average, which I think is closer to a mean, which mean and average. But I think it has to do, if when I was working with Python, that was when you use standard deviation. But basically, there's another way we can do a weighted count average where it's more true to the data. And I don't really know how I can explain it, but I'm just going to show you what it is. So for the weighted average, I'm just going to um, copy and paste it because it's going to be a very long formula. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it. So I'm just going to go ahead and open my notes app, and this is the formula I'm going to copy. Don't worry, I'm going to still show it. So I'm going to come over to this column, that cell rather, and we have some products, table 1 referencing our data sets, unit price, then multiplied by quantity divided by sum of table 1 quantity. So it's basically doing the average for each row instead of just taking everything together all at once and dividing it at once. It's going to do it for each row. That's exactly what's happening here. And this is the weighted average. And as I mentioned before earlier, there was a time I was taking a course and we're doing working on Python, and they first took the mean and then took the standard deviation, and the mean, which is basically the average, was, let me say, like $20,000, and the standard deviation was like $40,000, and it was insane. So it's good to check. This time it's pretty close. So if you use any of these, it would have still been closer. I think the difference is about 500 and something dollars, almost $600. But in some cases it might be more. So taking a moment to look into that, and especially when you're averaging out multiple, um in this case different car brands, different quantities, different prices, it's be better to use this. So just don't think too much about it. The internet is there for you. So this is the how I've calculated the weighted average. So I just use this to for demonstration, but this is the average we are going to use as our KPI. So I'm just going to reference it. I did this one separately because we won't be able to do it in a pivot table. So that's that. So I'm going to change the um let's change this to dollar, and I'm going to 0 decimal points. I'm also going to select this, change it from general to dollar, and I'm going to remove the decimal points. Once more, I didn't need to change that because we're not going to use it, but it's going to look clean. So once again, change this to dollar, and then there you have it. So the sum of sales for this entire data set is $48,102,000, and the number of cars sold is 777. The number of brands 23, and the average for each, the average sales is $61,907, and with that we are done with our KPIs. So for our next item, we're going to create another sheet. You can create all your pivot tables in one sheet, but in order to keep things clean, I'm going to use multiple sheets, therefore multiple pivot tables, and it just helps to keep things organized. So I'm going to select this plus icon, and I like to just move down a bit. It doesn't really matter what you select, where you select. So I'm going to name this sheet higher sales. So we want to create a chart to see which brand had the highest sales in highest total sales. So of course we're going to go to insert, select pivot table. And since I'm not going to do any distinct count, it doesn't really matter whether I select this or not. Once again, our data set, which is in the car sales data sheet, which is the first sheet, is table 1. So I'm just going to select right table 1, and that's it. Enter, we have our pivot table. So in our rows, we're going to select brand, and we're going to drag it to rows. And these are all our car brands here. Then we are going to go to total sales and put it in values. So that is the sum of our total values. Now I want to figure out which car, because right now it is just going in alphabetical order. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to select this arrow here, and I'm going to go to more sort options. I'm going to select, now it's I set to manual. I'm going to select descending. Select this drop down, and I'm going to sort it by the sum of total sales. So the one with the highest sales will be at the top, and the one with the lowest sales will be at the bottom. And there we have it. So based on this imaginary data set, Ferrari had the highest sales, followed by Lamborghini. I know it may be hard, it's hard to see. So I'm just going to hold this, and I'm going to hold Control Shift down. So I'll select the entire field data set, and I'm going to go to Home, go to, no, you don't need to do that. Just go to set the currency settings and set to dollar of, and I'm going to remove the decimal point. So you can see better. We have 6.8, $6,880,000, and there it keeps going. So remember, we're going to use this. First of all, let me remove this grand total. We don't need it. I'm going to remove grand total. Now I want to use this to create a chart, but we don't want everything there. It's not necessary to have everything. So I want to limit it to just 10, the top 10 highest performing car brands. So I'm going to select this filter button once more, and I'm going to select value filters and come to the last item, which is top 10, and select that. Everything is fine. It's the top 10 items by, we're sorting by sum of sales, so everything looks fine. If it looks different, just set things, just change things so it to look like this, and I'm going to press OK. And now it has limited uh pivot table to just the top 10 highest performing cars by sales, total sales. So I'm just going to select anywhere on this pivot table, and I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to select, we're going to go to Charts. So I'm going to select this first one, the clustered, I believe it's clustered column chart. So I'm going to clean things up a bit. First of all, I'm going to select this, right click, then hide all fill buttons on chart. Select that, and that's gone. Next, I'm going to select these grid lines and press delete, and it's gone. Finally, I'm going to select this legend. It's unnecessary for us to have a legend, and delete. Now we have this. So select the bars. Let's close this. I'm going to go to home. Oh no, sorry, design. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, went to format. So I want to see the entire thing. I'm just going to open this drop down. So since we're already here, let's just change the gap width to 70%, and now we have wider bars. Then for the fill, I'm going to change the fill. It's currently on automatic. I'm going to change it to solid fill, change the color, and I'm going to select more colors. Now I have my colors here, and you can take a moment to look at this. I'll show you when I use certain colors, and when you use Microsoft's um, products, especially PowerPoint and Excel, it will tend to remember what you used most recently. So once you start using it, Microsoft Excel is going to remember it, so you don't need to remember it. So I'm going to copy this one, and this is the hex color for our primary color, which is for the bars and a lot of elements you see in our chart, in our dashboard. So 8EEC F5. So I'm going to copy. I'm just going to copy that and come over here, paste it, and now we have changed our color. I'm going to change the title of our chart to car brands by highest sales. Car brands by highest sales. So now that we're done with that, we want to still do a brief bit of formatting on our chart once more. So while our chart is still selected, the whole chart is still selected, we're going to open this border. Change the border to solid line. Next, I'm going to come to the color and change it to white. Then I'm going to come to the last item, add rounded corners. Now if you want to see what's going on, oh, we won't be able to see because everything around it is white. No problem. Let's go to the effects, open the shadows menu, and then we're going to select this middle option, top middle. That's the offset bottom option. And now our chart has this shadow. We're going to tweak the settings a bit. We're going to reduce the distance to 2, and then the angle is going to be 45 degrees. And with that, we have this shadow, and we are done with our first chart, we are done with our first chart, which is the car brands by higher sales. So based on this, once again, this is not represented. It does not represent real life trends. It is not real data. We are just using it for demonstration purposes. But based on our chart, I'll try my best not to comment on the data because I've worked with real data before, and this is not it. Maybe it is, I don't know, because the data I worked with stopped at 2015. So this is claiming to go up to 2025, which, and there's a December 2025 in our data set. And in case you haven't noticed, this video is not we are not up to December of 2025, but yeah, that's it. This is our first chart, and all our charts are pretty much going to follow the same format. And with that, we are done with this one. The next item is the most expensive car brands. So I'm going to double click on sheet 2, and we're going to change it to most expensive cars, or most expensive brands, anyone. Most expensive. It's supposed to be most expensive car brands, but I won't add everything. So once again, pick wherever you like on your sheets and go to insert, select pivot table, and just add table 1. Once again, let me delete that. Let me just demonstrate it once more. If you want to use the data directly, go to what you want to reference. I'm going to scroll up here. I'm going to select this first, hold Ctrl Shift, right arrow key, down arrow key, and I'll still get table 1. So knowing the name of your data sets when you've created the table always help you create your pivot table faster. So okay, now that we have our pivot table, it's going to be almost identical to our previous sh sheets, but first we're going to grab brand and drag it to rows, and we're going to grab total sales and add it to values. But this time we're going to change some. I'm going to go to value field settings. I'm going to change it to average. Okay. Now, just like before, we're going to change how it sorts our value. So we'll go to select this is the filter. Go to more sort options. Select descending Z to A, and then select this drop down average of total sales. Okay. And now we have this. So once again, I'm going to hold Control Shift and down. So I'm going to go to home and currency changes to dollars, and I'm going to remove all. I'm going to make it 0 decimal points, and there we have it. Then I'm going to remove grand total because we do not need this. Then we're going to limit it once again to the top 10 because we don't want to have all of them. So select the filter button once more, value filters, go to the last item, top 10, and everything. This is how it's supposed to look like, and we'll leave it as it is. Okay, and with that we have our top 10 most expensive car brands. So we have all of this. Then we are going to create another chart to represent this. So just select anywhere on this, go to insert. We're going to go to the charts, and I'm going to select clustered column charts. Then let's just move this to the side. Once again, we're going to format it exactly as we did with the other. So I'm going to right click on this, hide all fill buttons on charts. Click this and all of that are gone. Select the legend, press delete, it's gone. Select the grid lines, delete, it's gone. So I'm going to select this, right click, format data series. Once again, we're going to change the gap width to 70, and we're going to go to the fill, change the fill color, and in our recent colors we have this light turquoise. So I'm going to select that. We're going to change our chart title to most expensive car brands. Click on that and exit. Now I want to format the entire chart. So changes to solid line. It's already set to white. We're going to go set it to rounded corners. We're going to go to the effects, shadow. We're going to select this one. You can select anyone, but this one is just closest to what I want. Change the distance to 2 and the angle to 45 degrees. And with that, we are done with the most expensive car brands chart. The next chart is going to be volume of cars sold. So I want to see how many cars each brand sold during the period we are checking our data sets. So once again, we'll create a new sheet. I'm going to change this to volume of cars sold. Enter to set that. Pick any cell, go to insert, select pivot table, and I am just going to add right table 1. Enter, and we have our pivot table. Once again, we're going to select brand and drag it to rows. Second item we are going to select is quantity. I'm going to drag quantity to values. Next, we're going to sort this. We're going to select this more sort options, descending, and we're going to change it to sum of quantity. Okay, and then we have this. I'm going to remove this. We don't need to know grand total. Next, I'm going to select this sort button. Once we're going to open this sort option, go to value filters, top 10, leave it as it is. It's okay, and select OK. And these are the um, highest. If you want to have the top 20 or you want to see everything, then that's fine. But I just want to look at the top 10 because we are going to have limited space to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and create a chart. So select anywhere on this data set, go to insert charts and our clustered column chart. Just move it to the side. I'm going to right click on this hide or fill buttons, select the legend, delete the legend. We're going to select the grid lines, delete that. Change the title to brands by number of cars sold. If you want to change the title to whatever you want, that's fine. If whatever you can understand more, that's fine. I'm going to select the bars and just right click format data series. And once again, I'm going to change the gap width to 70%. Go to fill, change the color to our primary color that we've been using. And then I'm going to also add some effects to the chart itself. So I'm going to go to border, solid line, it's already set to white, leave it as it is, give it rounded corners, go to the effects option, select any shadow, but I'm going to use this one, offset bottom. Reduce the distance to 2 and the angle to 45 degrees. And once again, we are done with this chart as well. The next item is going to be sales by state. So I'm going to create yet another sheet and rename this, double click the title and change this to sales by states. Sales by state. Enter. Select any cell. Once again, go to insert, click on pivot table, and I'm going to type table 1. I'm going to select OK to create a new pivot table. So for our rows, we're going to select states and drag, why is it? Sorry, going to select states and drag it to rows. And the next, we're going to go to total sales, select that, and then drag that to values. Now, in this case, we're not going to use any filters because there's only 10 states. So I'll just remove grand total, and I'm going to Control Shift down to select all our values. Go to the currency settings and set it to dollar and set it to 0 decimal points. And just like that, we are done with our sales by state. But I'm just going to make sure that I filter this. Although we're not going to limit it to top 10, we're going to filter it so that we have the highest performing states on the top and the lowest performing states at the bottom. So more such options, descending Z to A by sum of total sales. Okay. And we see Tennessee is our highest performing state and Florida is our lowest performing state in terms of total sales. So I'm going to create a chart for this. So once again, go to Insert, select a chart. We are still going to use our clustered column chart. I'm going to move this a bit to the side. Right click, select hide all fill buttons on chart. Next, we're going to select the grid lines and delete it. Press delete to remove it. Once again, select the legend, delete that. So before we move forward, let's just change the name of this chart to sales by state. Next, we're going to format this. Let's right click, select format data series. I'm going to select this. We're going to change the gap width to 70%. Change the fill to our primary color that we've been using throughout to this point. Next, we're going to scroll down to the border, select solid line, still white. Then, oh, sorry about that. I should have. I am still. I am still on the bar. I'm just going to undo that. Do the select fill. This time, select the entire chart. Select solid line. It's set to white. We're going to go to rounded corners, and now our chart has a rounded corner, but we can't see it yet. Go to effects, select shadow, select any shadow of your choice. We're going to change things around. I'm going to change the angle to 45 degrees and distance to 2 points. Now for this, we're going to do we're going to have one extra step. I'm going to insert a slicer. Wherever you insert your slicer, sometimes it really doesn't matter, but I'll just select maybe here, anywhere, really. Go to insert, select, go to filters, select slicer. For our slicer, I want to select brand and select OK. Now we have this slicer, but I want to format our slicer so that the colors of these buttons will match our current theme. So I'm going to select this because this is the theme it's currently on. If I select this, it's going to change, but this is the theme it currently is on. I'm going to right click this and duplicate. So I'm just going to change this to car sales. Could be anything you want. It's only going to be temporary for this particular um, project. So go to select whole slicer, go to format, and I'm going to go to border, and I'm going to select none. Select OK. Next, we're going to go to header, format, and this where it's already opening the border. Select none. OK. Then selected item with data, format, and for this we're going to leave the border. I still want the buttons to have that border around it, but this time we'll go to fill. Now I'm going to open my notes so that we still have the primary color. So the turquoise we've been using for our bar charts. That's what we're still going to use for this. I'm going to copy that, make sure that's copied, minimize this, and for the pattern color, I'm going to, okay, so it already has it here. I'm going to select this color, and then here as well, I'll select more colors, and I'll change this, and I'll paste our primary color, that's the light turquoise, and I'm going to select OK, and once again OK. Nothing changed because it's still set to the original one. I'm going to go here, and now we have this new car slice theme, and we're going to select that, and now this is what it looks like. So you see that it doesn't have um, a border, but don't worry, I'm going to format it in the dashboard stage so it kind of looks like this. We're going to do a little bit of um, we're just going to do things to make it look like this, even though we can't actually make the slicer look exactly like the charts on its own. But with that, we are done with this one. We're going to use this one once more because we have two slicers in our project, but I'm going to leave it for another sheet. So for our next item, we are going to want to look at transmission type. So I already have a sheet here. You can go ahead and add a sheet. I'm going to double click this, and I'm going to change this to transmission type, and select any cell, going to insert pivot table, and I'm going to reference table 1 as our data. So I'm going to scroll down, select transmission, drag transmission to rows, select quantity, and quantity is going to be values. I'm going to remove total, remove grand total. I'm going to select anywhere, insert. This time we're going for a donut chart. So I'm going to go to pie charts, and I'm going to go to donut charts. I'm going to right click this, hide all field buttons on charts. I'm going to change the title. I'm going to rename the title to transmission type. Then we're going to select this legend, right click, format legend. And for the legend, I'm going to set this to top, but I wanted to select only the legend, and I'm going to move it up here, and I'm going to move this to the side because we're going to make it smaller, and I want the legend to be up here. So I'm going to select this, click again, so that I'm selecting only this blue area, which is the automatic, and I want to change the color. I'm going to go to fill and line, select solid fill, and it immediately choose our primary color we've been using. Now we're going to introduce a new color, which is a kind of light, a purple color. So I'm going to go to my notepad once more, and now I'm going to reference it. This is the hex code for the particular shade of purple or lavender or whatever color it would be. um, Microsoft tends to identify the color, so I'll see what it says. So I'm going to select that. I've copied the hex code, go to more colors, and I'm going to paste it here, enter, and we have this purple. And there we go. We have our manual as this purple color and automatic as this turquoise. And there we go. That is the distribution for transmission type. Now we're going to format the chart area. So right click. I'm just going to right click, go down, format chart area. So we're already there. I'm going to change this to, okay, the fill. No, I'm going to change the border to solid line. The fill is already set to white. If not, set it to white. Make the corners, set it to click, turn on rounded corners. Let's go to shadow, select this one, offset bottom, reduce the distance to 2 points and the angle to 45 degrees, and there we go. We are done with our transmission type. Now the next thing we're going to look at is the sales by car year. So once again, create a new sheet. we're going to rename this as sales by car year. Or you can just say sales by year, whichever one you choose. So once again, click anywhere, insert pivot table, and we're going to reference table 1. So for this particular pivot table, we're going to select here and drag it to rows, and then we're going to go to total sales, add it to values, and I'm not going to sort it. I want it to be in this order where it's going from the earliest year 1990 to 2024. I'm going to remove grand total because we don't need that. Once again, I'm going to select this and I'm going to hold Ctrl Shift down, and I'm going to go to the currency. I'm going to set this to dollars, and I'm going to remove all decimal points, and I'm going to leave it as 0. So next we're going to create our chart. So select anywhere, insert, going to use a clustered column chart. Move this a bit. Right click on any of these buttons, hide all field buttons on chart. There we go. Once then, I'm going to select the legend. We're going to remove the legend. I'm going to select these lines as well and delete it. And I'm going to change this to sales by car year. And now that we're done with that, we're going to format data series. Change the gap width to 70%. We're going to go to the fill and line, change the fill to this our light turquoise, and I was right, it's lavender. So there we have it. Now we're going to format the charts area. So now that I've selected, it has changed to this entire area. So I'm going to change the border to solid line. It's going to set it to white. Click rounded corners. Let's go to the effects. On the presets for the shadows, we're going to select offset bottom. Reduce the distance to 2 points and angle to 45 degrees. And with that, we are done with the sales for car year. So we're going to also insert a slicer. So what I'm going to do is select anywhere, and yeah, I'm going to insert. I'm going to go to slicer, and this time the slicer will be by state. I'm going to press OK, and we have this. I'm just going to move this to the side. Then once again, I'm going to select this new design we created, car sales, and I'm going to select that. And now we have this slicer by state, and with that we are done with the sales by car year. Oops, I just realized I made a slight typo, sales by car year. So yeah, we're done with that. The next category we're going to look at is color. So once again, we're going to create a new sheet. I'm going to double click this and just change this to color. I'm going to select any cell, go to insert pivot table, and I'm just going to reference table 1 as our range. Table 1, and that's it. So I'm going to select color, drag it to rows, and I'm going to, so what we're looking at is the most common color based on this data set. So I'm going to do some sorting. So more sort options, I'm going to go to descending Z to A, and I'm going to select sum of quantity and okay. So this is how that you know that this isn't real data. But regardless of whether you've seen actual data or not, you know, just by looking at this, you know that this is most definitely not I'm just looking at it. It seems like he flipped it because these colors are meant to be up here and this one is supposed to be down. But hey, that's what our data set is saying. So we'll just continue with that. So grand total, remove grand total, and I want to limit it once again to the top 10. So I'm going to also open our filter, value fit filters, come to the last item, top 10, leave it as it is. And once again, this is a very ridiculous spread. Looking at this, and I don't think I've even ever, I don't think I've actually seen a lime colored car in the wild. I genuinely do not think I've ever. Maybe I have, but it was so rare. Oh my god, that's very weird color combination. But hey, that is what it is. Let's move on. Next we're going to select somewhere here. Insert. Go to charts. 2D columns. We're going to select a clustered column chart. Select that. I'm going to move it to the side a bit. Right click on this. Hide all fill buttons on charts. Next, delete the total. I just a quick. Um, I know I talk too much, but just give me a moment. There was a time I did this, I think in Tableau, if I'm not mistaken, and I made each bar the color of the car it was referencing. I did that in Tableau. I also did that in Python. So if you want to, add a bit of life to your chart, if it's allowed, you can change the color of the bars to the colors referenced here. But for now, we're just going to use a single color for each bar. So I'm going to select this, right click, format data series, and um, set the gap width to 70%, enter, and we're going to go to the fill, select solid fill, and it's already using our preset color, the one we've been using, the turquoise. And we're going to go to the chart area, change the border. We're going to select solid line for the border, and we're going to select rounded corners. Next, we're going to go to effects, go to presets for the shadow, and select offset bottom. Change the angle to 45 degrees and change this distance to 2 points. And okay, we're going to change the title of our charts to most common car colors. I'm going to change that to this, and with that we are done for the charts for the most common car colors. So the next thing we're going to look at is the average car condition by year. So once again, we're going to create another sheet. Going to select any cell, go to insert pivot table, and we'll reference table 1. Then we're going to select here, drag it to rows. We're going to select condition and drag it to values. Now we're going to select this drop down here, go to value field settings, select average, and OK. I'm just going to change the decimal points to just 1 decimal point. So Control Shift down, and I'm going to go to home. I'm going to reduce decimal places to just 1 decimal place. And once again, I'm going to come to grand total, right click, remove grand total. Now what we're going to do is, of course, create our chart. So select anywhere, insert. This time we're going to use a line chart. So I'm going to select line charts. And we can see the trend of car condition that's from 1990 to 2004. The average car condition has just, so the earlier, based on this data, I know we're not taking it, it's not real data, but basically saying the earlier the car's manufacture year, the better its condition. So right click on this, hide all field buttons on charts, select total, delete. Select the grid lines as well, delete. Next, we are going to change the title to average car condition. Going to click on this to exit. Next, we're going to select this line, right click and format data series. So I'm going to select the fill, change the fill to solid line, and it's going to go to our primary color that we've been using throughout. Next, we're going to select the chart area once more so we can change the features. So we'll go to border, select solid line as our border, and we're going to change the color to white. Next, we're going to add some rounded corners. Finally, we'll go to effects, go to the shadow, select this, and we're going to go to offset bottom. Change the angle to 45 degrees and then reduce the distance to 2 points. And with that, we are done with average car condition by year. Now, before we move on to the next item, I just realized I didn't rename this, so I'm going to double click this and I'm going to change this to average car condition. There we go. Now, press this plus sign to create a new sheet. Double click so that we can we're going to look at body type this time. Enter, select anywhere, any cell, go to insert, select pivot table, and we are going to reference table 1 once more. Now we're going to go to body type, select body type, drag body type to rows, and we are also going to select quantity and drag this to values. Now I'm going to remove grand total. So we have only, I believe it's 10, just 10 body types, so that's fine. So we just have to sort it in descending order. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to go to more sort options. Go to descending Z to A, and we're going to change this to sum of quantity and OK. So this is our body type sorted. So this is showing us our most common body type based on this data set. So next we are going to, of course, insert a chart to represent this. So go select anywhere on this pivot table, go to insert, go to charts, and we are going to select a clustered column chart. So move this a bit. We're going to right click on this button here and we're going to hide or fill buttons on chart. Next we're going to rename our chart to most common body type. Most common body type. Yep. Click outside that area to exit. Next we're going to select these grid lines, delete. Once again select the legend, delete. Now we're going to select the bars, right click, select format data series, change the gap width to 70%, and we are going to go to the fill, change the fill to solid fill, and now we have this. We're going to format the chart area, so I have some format. I've selected the chart area this time, and now I'm going to go to border and select solid line, and it's already, for me it's already changing to white. If it doesn't, just set it to white. We're going to turn on rounded corners. Go to the effects tab. In the shadows, go to presets and select the offset bottom. Next, we're going to change the angle to 45 degrees and the distance is already 3 points. Okay, no, it's 2 points we've been using, so we're going to have this as 2 points. And with that, we are done with the chart for body type. For our final chart, we're going to look at the sales trend, meaning that we're going to look at the sales by date. So create one more sheet, double click to rename, and I'm going to write sales by date. There we go. Select any cell. I know I said select any cell, but I always like this within this first uh three rows like that. Sorry. Um, Pivot table. We're going to reference table one. Enter, and we are going to select date this time, not year, because year is referencing the manufacturer year. So we're going to go grab date and add date to rows. Now it's showing me year. Then if we open this, it's going to open quarter two, quarter three. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to only reference months. So I'm going to come to, before we do that, I'm going to grab total sales and I'm going to add these two values. So in the rows area, I'm going to select here and remove it. And I'm also going to grab quarters and remove it. And finally, I'm going to grab this date and remove it as well. And now we are left with only the month. So it's showing us the month regardless of here. Um, for It's only showing us months. So depending on what you want to do, that will determine how your charts look like. But I want to reference just months to make it easier. So I'm going to select this grand total, right click and remove grand total. I'm going to leave it in this order from January to December. I'm just going to change this Control Shift and down arrow key. I'm going to go to home and change this to dollar, and I'm going to reduce the decimal places to 0. And once again, select anywhere, insert. This time we're going to use a line chart as well, and there we have that. So I'm going to right click this button and hide all fill buttons on charts. Next, I'm going to select the legend and delete that. We're going to delete the grid lines as well. Going to change the title to car sales trend. There we go. And we're going to select this line, right click and format data series. I'm going to go to the fill, select solid line, it's changing to white. We're going to change the color, and that's it. So we're going to select the chart here, go to border, select solid line, change this to white, going to select rounded corners. We're going to go to effects. In the shadows tab, we're going to go to presets, select the offset bottom. We're going to change the angle to 45 and the distance to 2 points. And with that, we are done with all our charts. Now we can move on to creating our dashboard or our dashboards, because this is a two-page dashboard. So in order to start creating our dashboard, I like making the dashboard the first sheet. So this is how I like to do it. You don't have to do it the same way. So I'm going to scroll to go back to our first sheet, which has our data, our table. So I'm going to, while I'm on the car sales data sheet, I'm going to add another sheet, and I'm going to drag this one before this. So this is now the first sheet. You don't have to do this. I just like um, being able to open the file, and the first thing I see is the dashboard. So I'm going to double click this, and I'm going to change this to rename this to dashboard. And since it's a two-page dashboard, I'm going to make this number 1 like so. And the next item, we're going to insert a rectangle. So I'm going to go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and I'm going to select a rounded corners rectangle. I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to draw that like so. Now I'm going to change the outline to no outline, and I'm going to set the height to 19 cm and the width to 32 cm. I'm going to drag this so that the corners are not so rounded. It's rounded, but not so not so much. So here. I'm just going to place it around here. Anyway, it's fine. So I'm going to hold control and scroll down so that we have a bit more space to work on our dashboard. So I'm going to change the color of this rectangle. So I'm going to go to color, go to more colors, and the hex code I'm going to use for this is 152742. Enter, and we have this really nice dark blue rectangle. So I'm just going to select this and I'm going to press Ctrl D to duplicate it. First, let's change the color of our rectangle so we can see it. And I'm going to select the fill, and this will I see just underneath our white, we're going to pick this first gray color, and there we have that. And we're going to, and this is why I like keeping my eyes on the dimensions. When you change the radius of this, when you are changing the corner, it tends to, the size tends to change. So no worries, we're going to set it back. I'm going to make this 19 and this is going to be 32. Once again, the height is going to be 19 for the gray rectangle. But however, we're going to change the width of this one to 30.5. So, and I'm going to select both rectangles, and I'm going to select both. I'll go to align, and I'm going to align right. I'm going to select align once more and align middle. Now I'm just going to click out, and I can still see these edges of the blue rectangle even though we did that properly, but that's not a problem. So select just the gray rectangle, use your arrow key and nudge it once, just move it once to the other side, to the right, and with that we can't see our blue rectangle anymore. So what we're going to do is select both of these rectangles and Ctrl G to, ooh, I keep forgetting I'm not in PowerPoint. I'm going to right click, go to group. So the next thing we're going to do is insert a rectangle. So we're going to go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and we're going to select the rounded rectangle with rounded corners once more. Select that and just draw one here. So for the shape outline, I'm going to change the shape outline to no outline. I'm going to leave the fill as it is for now. So I'm just going to move this and I'm going to change the height to 4.445 cm by 4.4 cm. No, sorry, 5 cm for the width. Yeah, I'm just going to move this yellow circle a bit so that it's not as rounded as it is now. Yeah, so I'm going to hold Control and Shift, and I'm going to make a copy. So this let go, then select and drag it to create yet another copy. And I have two of this here. We're going to change the dimensions of this rectangle for now. So we're going to change the height to 1.95 cm, and we're going to change the width to 19 cm. Now I'm going to, let's see, this, I'm going to just move this a bit because it's looking, I want it to just be a little more rounded as well. Okay, so I'm going to select this rectangle, hold Control and Shift and just drag it down. So I'm going to also change a few details. I'm going to go to shape format, and the height I'm going to change that to 2.2 cm, and the width I'm going to change it to 4.4 there. And we're going to, let me see, okay, the corners look fine, I guess. Just every time the size of the rectangle changes, this kind of changes as well. So I'm just going to leave that like that. So I'm going to select this rectangle while holding Control or Control and Shift. I'm going to Control and Shift and drag this multiple times till we have four identical rectangles. And there we go, we have these four rectangles. So we're going to change a few details about this. So we're going to select all of these, oh, all of these rectangles, and we're in the shape format tab right now. I'm going to select this so that it will bring out this dialog box, and we're going to change the color. No, sorry, we'll go to effects, and we'll go to shadow, and the presets we're going to use offset bottom. So we want to have the same shadow effect we had for all our charts. So we'll select that. We're going to change the angle to 45 degrees, and the distance will be 2 points there. Now I'm going to select, I use escape to deselect. I'm going to select this rectangle, the one by the left, this really long one in the center, and the one by the right. And I'm going to change the fill to white. For these rectangles, we're going to select all of them, and we're going to change the fill to gradient. So we're going to change the settings. So I'm going to select this first handle and move the position to 50%. The second handle will leave at 83, and the third one will be at 100. Press escape here to deselect. Then I'm going to select this one. So the first rectangle, we're going to go back to I'm going to bring up my hex code. So I'm going to choose this purple. This is the hex code for the purple. We've used it before, probably it's already in my library. I'm going to select this second handle and go to fill, and I already have it here. But if you don't have it, select this, go to more colors, and you can paste your hex code here. The second item, the second handle, I'm going to select this. Once again, the same purple, and the third item, same purple, and we're done with that. Going to select the second box, go to the markup at 50%, and we're going to use our primary color we've been using throughout. This color, the one we're using for the charts. Go to the second handle or the third one, depending on how you look at it, and then the one at 100%, set it to the same color. Select the third box, go to, we could have just left it at any one, go to the one at 50%. I'm going to grab the peach color, going to copy this, and I am going to go to color, more colors, and I'm going to paste this here, and okay. The third handle, change it to peach. Once again, I'm going to change it to that, and we are going to work on the final box. I'm going to go to my notes as well, and this is the hex code for this, the shade of blue we're going for. I'm going to copy that, A3C4F3. Then wherever you are, as long as it's not the last one, the one at 0%, going to select all of this, and I'm going to paste the hex code here, and I'm going to select this one as well, use that blue, and finally we're going to select that, and we have this blue. Now, I'm not going to change anything yet because we're still going to add, I'm not going to align everything properly and space it out, because as you can tell, there's unequal spacing around, but we're going to add our slicer, we're going to add dashboard title, and we're going to add a slicer and some other details. But for now, we've kind of built out part of our heading or the top of our dashboard. So what we're going to do next is copy and paste our slicers. So we're going to bring our slicers first. So our first slicer that we created is in the sales by states. Yeah, sheet. So I'm going to just Control C to copy this, and I'm going to go back to our dashboard sheet, and I'm going to paste this here, and I'm just going to drag it over here. And the second one is in our sales by car year. So sales by year, and I'm going to grab this slicer which is for state. Go back to our dashboard, and once again Control V, and I'm going to paste that here. So I'm going to change the size of this slicer. So go to slicer, height is going to be 4.2, and the width is going to be 4.3. Same for this one, I'm going to change the height to 4.2 and the width to 4.3. Now we're going to grab this and just place it over this one. No worries if it's not perfect, we'll use the align feature to make sure everything is squared up. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select the rectangle, select the slicer, go to slicer, we're going to select align, we're going to align center and then align middle. And now we have this. I'm going to Control G. I apologize, I keep forgetting I am not in PowerPoint. Sorry. Right click, go to group, and then group. And now we have this slicer, technically this slicer with rounded corners. Next, we're going to do the same for this one. Select the rectangle, then the slicer, go to slicer. I believe the option here is still in shape format, so whichever one you pick, depending on whatever one you choose, you're going to have this align object. So align center, align middle, and oops, almost did the same thing. Right click, group, and then group. And there we go, we have this. And I'm also going to create a title. So I'm going to go to insert, just go to text, and I'm going to select text box, and I'm going to write type car sales analysis dashboard. There we go. Well, you can change the title to whatever you want it to be. I'm going to change the text to Calibri. Yeah, Calibri. I'm going to change this middle align to this center, and I'm also going to align it to the middle. Going to change the text size to 32, and we are just going to change this till if it's. Now finally, this entire text box tends to always come with a border, so we're going to go to select the text box, go to shape format, go to outline, and select no outline, and there we have this. You can also use the rectangle as your text box if you want to do that, but I like to do everything one by one. So I'm going to select the text, no, select the rectangle, then the text, go to align, align center, align once more, align middle, and Control G. Sorry, I'm so sorry, I keep forgetting. Right click, go to group, and then group. I keep forgetting I am not in PowerPoint. So with that, we are done with the slicer, the heading, the two slicers, and the heading, the title or heading. And we are going to move on to our KPIs. For the next items, we're going to, as I said, we're going to insert the KPIs. So before we do that, we're going to write out the headings or titles for all our KPIs. So go to insert text. I'm just going to select a text box. So I'm just going to right over here, write total sales. I'm going to press escape. I'm just going to hold control and zoom in. I'm scroll up with my mouse so I can zoom in. I'm going to First of all, go to shape format, go to shape outline, no outline, shape fill, no fill, and just move this out a bit so I'll have a bit more space. Now I'm going to increase this once because I want to reuse the text box. So I'm going to move this up here till it's about here. Go back to home, change the middle align to the center here and then middle here and then change it to center, and that's maybe let's make it even smaller. I believe that's fine. So I'm just going to select this and then select this as well. Go to shape format, align and align center so that the text is in the middle of our rectangle. I'm going to deselect and I'm going to zoom out a little bit just for a little bit more space so I can see all of them. I'm going to select this, select the text box, hold Control and Shift and drag this here. Once again, do the same for this one and then for this one. So this one we're going to have number of cars sold. So that would be number of cars sold. This is referencing how many cars are in our data set or vehicles are in our data set. And this will be number of car brands. And finally, we have average selling price. Let's use a shortened version so that the entire text will fit. Like so, and now I'm just going to select the rectangle, select the text box, go to shape format, go to align center. Rectangle first, text, align center. Once again, select the rectangle, then the text, align, and then align center. Next, we're going to insert our actual KPIs. So what I'm going to do is use inserts, go to text box, and I'm going to draw we're just going to draw a text box, but we're not going to type anything here. We're going to go to the formula bar and I'm going to write the equal sign. Now what we want to do, we want to reference a cell in our entire workbook because doing this will mean that our KPIs can now be dynamic. So it won't just be static value, it will actually be dynamic, and anytime we change values within our dynamic dashboard, it's going to change as well. So I'm going to go to KPIs and this is our total sales, and I'm going to select this cell and then press enter, and with that we've referenced our first KPI, which is total sales. So I'm going to do a bit of formatting. I'm going to go to shape format, going to select this to no fill and outline to no outline. Go back to home. I'm going to change let's change the text to Calibri. No, that didn't, I want to change the text to Calibri. I'm going to make it bold and I'm going to increase this to 16. Don't worry, our text is still there. Just going to increase this till it appears once more, and there we have that. So we're also going to make this align to the middle and align to the center. Just going to move this, we're going to give a little bit of space here because we're going to add an icon rather here. So I'm just going to have that here, and I'm going to hold Control and Shift and then drag this here once more. Control and Shift. Oops, I mistakenly selected the rectangle as well. Select the text, Control Shift, and we're going to duplicate this. Now for this one, we're just going to go to the formula bar once again. Just clear all of this out. Go to our KPIs, and we would select the sum of quantity. Sum of quantity is referencing how many cars are in our data set. And once again, enter, and we have 777. No worries, we're going to change this. Select Calibri. I don't know why it's giving me a hard time. Calibri. Change the font to 17 and then bold. The alignment is still the same. So with this one, I can just make it smaller. Once again, come to this text box. We are going to clear this out and then go to KPI. Distinct count of brands. We can choose anyone, but I'm going to choose this one that is part of the pivot table. I'm going to select this one, enter, and once again, we're just going to no problem. We're going to change this to Calibri, make it bold, change the size to 16. And then finally, for our average selling price, select our text box. Just remove this, leave the equal sign, go to KPIs, and we're going to use the weighted average, and then enter. Going to change it to Calibri, bold, size 16. And there we have that. So just like before, I'm just going to move this to the side like so. Oops, make it a bit bigger. So now we're going to have some icons just by the side, and then we'll figure out where everything is going to fit. Now we're going to go to Insert, go to Illustrations, then Icons, and then we're going to search for money first. Select this one, clear this, search for car, select this. Next, select trade, search for trade, select this icon, then finally graph. And we're going to select this one. Now for the next icons we don't need to search. We're just going to clear the search bar and then scroll down and select number 1, the one that is filled, and number 2. And we're going to go ahead and insert those icons. Just going to move this here so that we can see them. So we're going to move this because this is going to be the icon for sales. This is going to be the one for cars. This is going to be the one for the average sales, and this is going to be the one for number of car brands. So I'm just going to bring this here so that we can see it. And for the car, select the car icon and hold Control, and we're going to create a duplicate of it. So select the money, car, trade, and graph icons. Go to graphics format, and we're going to change their size. Just change the width to 1, and there we go. And we're going to use select to deselect all of them, and then select the money icon and use this handle to move this here. Let me get even just closer so that I can move things around. So I'm going to use shift so that it stays relatively straight. I'm going to also hold shift, try to move this close as possible. I can use a line, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to out this like so. And with that, we have our, I know that it's sticking out, but that's fine. We're going to have our total sales KPI. Going to grab this car, move it here, and we have our car icon. Next, we're going to select our trademark. Oops, wrong. Select our trademark icon, move this. Yeah, let's move our KPI a bit closer. And then I'm going to select the graph. Select the graph icon, bring it over here. Yeah, that looks that looks okay. This one looks kind of lopsided, so I'm just going to select both of them and use my arrow keys to, if it's really bothering you, you can group them and then center align, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. So for this, I'm going to select everything here, the entire item, and I'm going to um, group it. Sorry, once again, I have right click, group. We're going to group this. Once again, I'm going to select all of this and right click, group. Select this, get really close. Select all of this, right click. I have messed that up. Just select everything. I don't give me a moment. Right click, group. Select everything as well. Right click and then group. And I'm just going to zoom out. Let's take a look at it, and it looks fine. We're still going to have to align everything. So let's just come over here. I'm just going to select this group. Let me see. I think that looks fine. So I'm going to select this group, this heading title or this, and I'm going to select this one as well. And just kind of decide where the spacing, where we're comfortable with the space between where the edge of this will be. So I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to select these three items, and I'm going to go to shape format, align, and then align top. Then I'm also going to select align and distribute horizontally. I'm going to deselect, and now for this we're going to select all of this, and I'm going to go to align and align middle, and we have this, and I'm going to go to align once more, distribute horizontally. But we're having an issue here because remember our text is slightly, this text is sticking out, so it's increasing the size of our listen. So let's just work on that. So I'm just going to ungroup, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select this rectangle and then select these other items, and then we are going to distribute horizontally. I'm showing you this because sometimes everything won't go perfectly. You have to troubleshoot as you go. So if it's not going the way you want, you just need to work your way around what's going on and then kind of, figure out what you're going to do with the issues you're having. So now all the rectangles are spaced, and we're going to select all of this once more. Going to select the icon, and I'm going to group it as well. So even though this group is technically overlapping or very close to this one, the spacing is going to look even. And I'm going to control. Sorry, I keep forgetting I'm not in PowerPoint. It's, sorry, and I'm going to group this. So now we have this object, we have four separate objects. We have one, two, three. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to one, two, three, and four. And I'm just going to make sure that these two are centered with each other, align center, perfectly centered. The distribution between this, and this is fine, and everything on top is fine. I'm just going to select this, and if you want to, I'm going to do that. If you don't want to do that, I'm going to just control, nope, not control, right click, not on the text. Don't do it on the text, it always mess things up. I'm going to select everything, and most definitely not on text. I'm going to right click, group, and then group. And now we have, let's zoom out a bit. This is a single object, and this is our um the entire top of our dashboard, which consists of our title, two slicers for brand, state, and as well as the KPIs for total sales, number of cars sold, number of car brands, and average selling price. So I'm just going to work on this sidebar as it were. So I'm going to change the color of these two icons to white. We're going to change the fill to white, and I'm going to select this third icon as well, and I'm going to change their size to 1.4. Let's you change the width to 1.4 cm. I'm going to use escape to deselect, select the car icon, grab this, and we're just going to place it here. I'm going to use my arrow key to just move it ever so slightly. Select this number one, place it, let's see here. This is indicating that this is our page where we'll show page one and page two. I'm going to use my arrow keys, and for number two, I'm going to change the color to this. We're going to select this middle in this grid, and we're going to select this middle one. That's white background one, darker 25%. I'm going to select this so it looks inactive, and I'm going to just so that everything is aligned here. I'm going to select these three, go to graphics formats, go to align center, escape, and we have this. Let me move this ever so slightly to the top, and there we go. We have our dashboard coming together nicely. So now that we've done constructing all these items, we are going to go ahead and start adding our charts. Okay, now that we're done with this top and side um, area of our dashboard, we're going to move on to this main area. So I'm going to scroll down a bit, go to insert, go to illustrations, shapes, and select a rectangle, and I'm just going to draw this. I'm going to change the dimensions to, for the height we're going to go with 13.4 cm, and for the width we're going to go with 29.6, and I'm just going to move this here. So we're going to select this group, the one that contains these two large rectangles. I'm going to right click, go to group, and ungroup. I'm going to select the gray rectangle, hold shift, select the blue rectangle, go to shape format, align center. So I'm just going to escape, and I'm just going to select this rectangle and kind of place it somewhere I like and looks good. So there, and while these rectangles are ungrouped, I'm just going to use this opportunity to align this to the center. So I'll select the gray rectangle first, hold shift, this rectangle second, go to shape format or graphics format, align center, and there we have that. So I'm just going to escape, press escape once more, select the gray rectangle and then the blue rectangle, right click, and then group it again. And there we have that. Next, what we're going to do is bring in our charts. So I noticed this that I think I wrote highest chart and I apologize for that. I changed it to highest car sales. So car brands by highest sales. So this is the chart. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. I'm going to use Control C, come to dashboard and just select anywhere here and I'm going to paste it. Next, I'm going to go to most expensive car brands and of course I'm going to Control C to copy, come back to our dashboard and while select out of the chart. If you're wondering what happens while this chart is selected and I Control V, what has happened is that chart was pasted into this chart. So uh, select out of the chart. Let's select this rectangle and I'm going to Control V. And I'm going to drag this here. We have three other items. Next is volume of cars sold. I'm going to copy this and then make sure I'm selecting out of the chart on this rectangle or any cell. I'm going to paste this here and this is going to be here. Next is going to be sales by state. So I'm going to copy this. We don't need to copy this slicer because it's already on our dashboard. Go back to our dashboard once again. I'm going to select I'm going to select our rectangle, bring this about here, and then for this page, the final chart will be the distribution for transmission type. And I'm going to copy this. Go back to our dashboard once again and increase this to 70%. I'm going to paste this here as well. Now I'm going to change the size of these two charts to the height is going to be 7 and the width is going to be 14.6 cm. 14.6 cm. There we go. And I'm going to select this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the rectangle first. Select this chart. Go to shape format, align right, align top. Also, then once again escape. I'm going to select the larger rectangle. Select this chart. Go to shape format, align left and align top. And now we have our charts here. Next, I'm going to select these three charts we have here. And I'm going to change their size. I'm going to go to shape format, go to the height, change the height to 6 cm and change the width to 9.6. I'm going to just move each one of them till it's here. So don't worry, we're going to do all this formatting, but for now let's just make sure it's placed in the correct place. So I'm going to select this chart, select the blue rectangle, hold shift, select the chart, go to shape format, align bottom. Once again, go to align and then align right. Same with this one. Escape to deselect. I'm just going to move this in. Select the blue rectangle. Select our chart. Shape format. Align. Align left. Align and align bottom. And there we have that. I'm going to use escape. For this one, I'm going to bring this here. Once again, figure out how to we select the larger blue rectangle. Select the chart. Go to shape format. Align bottom. I'm going to escape and then I'm going to select this tree and I'm going to go to shape format, align, and distribute horizontally. And with that, we are almost done with the first page of our chart. So I'm going to, this looks a bit wonky. I'm going to just change the size of that to 8. So I went to the home and changed the font size to 8. For this, I'm just going to extend this so that we have the manual legend as well. And we are done with our first page. So we're not going to delete this rectangle first. What we're going to do is come to our dashboard here. We're going to right click and we're going to move or copy. So select move or copy, and we're going to, it's still here where we're having it's selecting our current um, Excel workbook. So while it's selected, this is what we want to copy. So I'm going to click create a copy. Okay, and now it has created a copy, but this time it puts it. So I'm going to move it here. So now we have dashboard 1 and dashboard 2. You can't even tell because everything is just where it is. So I'm going to select dashboard 2. Select all of these and I'm going to delete them. So I'm going to go to our next chart, which is sales by year. I'm going to copy this chart, Control C, go back to dashboard 2 this time, and I'm going to select this rectangle and paste it. Next, we are going to go for colors. So most common car colors. I'm going to copy this, go back to dashboard 2, come here and 70%. Come here, select the rectangle, paste. I'm just going to move it to this side. Next, we'll go to average car condition. Select the chart, copy it, go back to dashboard 2. We're going to paste it, and I'm just going to bring it down a bit. Next, we are going for body type. Copy that, come back to dashboard 2. Select the rectangle. I'm going to paste that. And then finally, we are going to go to the last chart, which is sales by date. I'm going to copy that. And then once again, go back to our dashboard in number 2 and paste it. Once again, I'm going to change the size of our charts. So I'm going to select this top 2, go to shape format. Height is going to be 7 and width is going to be 14.6. So I'm just going to bring this here. So before I go on, I'm going to change this. I'm going to select this. So I'm going to go to this size and properties, and text direction. I'm going to change it to rotate 270 degrees. Now I'm going to, let me move this out a bit. Select the blue rectangle, select the chart, shape format, align, align left, and then align top. Next, we're going to select the blue rectangle once again, select the colors chart, shape format, align, align right, align top. Now we're going to select these 3 charts, and what we're going to do is change your size again. Go to shape format, height is going to be 6 cm, and width is going to be 9.6. And I'm going to select this, move it in a bit, select this, and as well move it in just a bit. So let's start with this one. I'm going to select the rectangle, then the chart, go to shape format, align left, and then align bottom. Select the blue rectangle once again, or let's just move it first so that we have it. Select this rectangle, select this chart, shape format, go to align, and then align bottom. And then finally, we're going to select this large blue rectangle first, select this chart, shape format, align. We're going to align right and then align bottom. I'm going to select these three, and I'm going to go to shape format once again, align and distribute horizontally. And now this is what we have. So I'm just going to select the blue rectangle and delete. Go back to dashboard 1, and now I'm going to delete. So now we have dashboard 1 and dashboard 2, and they're exactly in the same position relative to each other. So we have dashboard 1, and you can barely, it's just the change of the details you can notice. Now the final step is to make sure our slicers are connected properly and they are filtering our content properly, and this is unnecessary, so we're going to fix all that. So I'm just going to clear this, but you'll notice that as I'm changing this isn't changing yet. But even before we get to that, I ran into a certain issue. I've made these charts before. I've made this exact dashboard. This will be the second, third, fourth time I've made this exact or this kind. But this time when I wanted to, so if you want to connect your slicer to, um, you want to connect this to our slicer can also filter this as well. You go to report connections, and there was no KPIs. I can see all my sheet names here, but I can find KPIs. So I eventually figured out what was wrong. And if yours is working fine and you can see your KPI sheet, that's fine. But I eventually figured out what was wrong. This was what I did the first time, and second time I did it. But this time I don't know what went wrong. So I'm going to go to KPIs, and I'm going to create a new sheet. And this one I'm going to name KPIs 2. If you know what went wrong, please let me know. We learn every day. But I'm just going to go ahead, insert pivot table, and we're going to run through this very quickly. This I'm not going to select this. That was the issue. So I'm going to write table 1. Remember, that's our table for our data series. So we're going to do this as quickly as possible. I'm going to go to total sales here. I'm going to go for quantity, and I'm also going to put unit price. That's the final one. So I'm just going to go to quantity, select this drop down, go to value field settings, select average, and there we have that. This time we're going to use the average because using the weighted average, while this average is not it's not close to the complete average for the entire thing. When we're using slicers, we'll be using at individual car brands, or we'll be looking at individual states. So in a way, it actually makes more sense. I have worked on dashboards where the design allows me to put both values. In fact, I've put 3 or 4 values for the same thing just by calculating them alone. But for this design, we can only have one. So I've decided that, you know what, we're going to use average of unit price this time instead of the overall weighted average, because I want it to be dynamic, and the dynamic dashboard wasn't working the way I wanted it to go. So I'm going to select this, go to home, and I'm going to set that to dollar, and I'm going to remove the decimal places. Once again, dollar, set that to 0 decimal places. Then we're going to go to our dashboard, and I'm going to select this particular, we're going to select total sales, clear this, leave the equal signs, go to KPIs 2, select sum of total sales, enter, and we have this. Now we're going to change this. Once again, I'm going to select Calibri, and I'm going to change this to 16. I'm going to make it bold there. My Excel is kind of, I don't know. So we're going to clear this as well. Go to KPIs 2, and I'm going to select sum of quantity, enter, and we have KPIs 2 selected. I'm just going to change the fonts once again to Calibri 16 and then bold. Oops, that was not what I wanted. I wanted to go to 70%. Then for our final item, we'll go select average selling price. I'm going to clear this. If you know the exact cell, you can reference the cell right from here, but I'm just going to go to KPIs 2, select average of unit price, enter, and we have referenced the average selling price. Here I'm going to change the font once again to Calibri, change this to 16, and there. If you see this jumpy zoom in and zoom out my Excel sheet is doing, I genuinely don't know what's going on. So if yours isn't doing that, there's nothing wrong with your own, there's something wrong with mine. I have tried my best to make it stop, but it keeps doing it. So I sincerely apologize, it's just doing that. So what I'm going to do this time as well, I don't even need to go and reference, I'll just copy this, Control C, come to dashboard 2. Oops, I didn't. I'm going to close that. Go to dashboard 2, come here, select this, and I'm going to paste this. And now it's referencing KPI 2, and remember this is in B4, so it's referencing it. We don't need to do that. We can just do this, copy when you can, duplicate when you can. Calibri, once again, going to select Calibri, font is 16, make it bold. Once again, we can reference it, or I could just copy it, because like I said, my Excel is being mean today, I guess, and it's not being my friend today, really. And I don't want anything to go wrong while I'm trying to do this. So I'm going to go to dashboard 2, select this one, and I'm just going to paste this here, and there we have that. Go to fonts. I'm going to select Calibri 16 bold. Finally, I'm going to go back to dashboard 1. I'm going to select this as well. Go to the formula bar, copy this reference, exit. Oops, what did I do? Sorry. Go to dashboard 2. I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to copy the reference for this as well. And finally, I am going to go to Calibri. Sorry, I have to do that twice. I don't know why, but it is what it is. 16 and bold. Okay, now we are done. Hopefully. Don't worry, we're pretty much done. We just want to report connections and then make our slicers dynamic. So I'm going to select this, and this isn't changing yet because we've not reported connections yet. So let me select Aston Martin. You see that these three are changing and it's unnecessary, while some maybe are changing, like the transmission type. I believe the transmission type is actually changing. Yeah, the transmission type is changing. So just to make sure, I want to report connections and then connect our KPI so that it changes as well. So I'm just going to select our slicer, go to slicer, then we're going to open this report connections. Now remember the first three, we're going to check, uh, we're going to look at some things and decide what we want to see in our um, graph as we change a bit of detail. So what I'm going to do is for we're going to leave average condition, we're going to leave body type. Now we're going to unclick highest car sales because that's not necessary. Then we're going to select KPI 2. This time we're going to deselect most expensive, and I believe, I think volume of cars too. We are going to remove volume of cars. So we're going to leave everything selected, deselect volume of cars, deselect most expensive, and deselect highest car sales. And I'm going to select OK. And we're going to give that a moment. Let's see what's going to happen. And there we have it. This first tree, let's zoom out a bit. It's going to be a bit small, but let's just do that for the sake of the tutorial. Let's click Chevrolet, and you see every other thing is changing, but these three won't change because they're already brands here and I don't want it to change. You'll notice our um, chart is no longer showing just 10 items, it is showing multiple items. It happens. Don't worry, you can go and change it, but for now I'm just going to leave it because this video has already gone on long enough and I'm sure you want to be done with this. So I'm not going to change it. If you want to change it, just go back to the chart settings and set it back to 10. But again, it happens. So I'm just going to clear this, and then we have that back. So I'm going to, now we're going to, um, so you can see the average sale for Aston Martin, Bentley. I don't know why the Bentley isn't coming up, BMW, but just takes a bit of work. Now we're going to go to state. We're going to report connections for state as well. So what I'm going to do for state, we're going to select almost everything except sales by state. We already have a slicer for state. We don't need to reference state once more. So just deselect sales by state, and with that, that's fine. And I'm going to click Illinois, Missouri, New York, and you can see everything is changing except sales for state. Let's see um, dashboard 2 and see if everything is working fine. As you can see, let's zoom out. Let me zoom out and let's click Florida, and you can see that everything is changing in this chart with the exception of number of car brands because it really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to deselect that, and with that we are almost done. I'm sorry this video is long and I'm sure you want to be done with it. So let's go back to dashboard 1. I want to make this two icons, not just icons. I want to make them actual buttons that will switch between the two dashboards. So you don't need to click between this one. These buttons can actually do that navigation for us. So what I'm going to do is, this is 1. So number 1 should be inactive while 2 should show that, okay, this is a clickable link. So I'm going to gray this out. So I'm just going to right click, format graphic, and I'm going to change the fill to this gray color, so it's grayed out. Then 2 will be white to indicate that, yeah, you can click on this. So we are already in 1, so 1 is grayed out, and we're going to go to 2, and this time 2 is grayed out because we are in dashboard 2, and this is fine. So let's go back to dashboard 1. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this number 2, I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to select link. So I'm going to, there are 3 options here. Select the place in this document. And then since we want number 2 to go to dashboard 2, we're going to click dashboard 2 and OK. I'm just going to click out here, and then when I click number 2, it automatically navigates to dashboard number 2. So I'm going to do the same for number 1. Right click, link, place in this document is the option you should select, and then select dashboard 1 and then OK. Now I'm just going to click out here, and now when I click dashboard 1, dashboard 2, dashboard 1, dashboard 2, and that's how you can have multiple. I've had a dashboard, I don't even know if you call that a dashboard, that had 4 pages. Yeah, you can have that, and actually it was kind of interesting and kind of cool to make that. So that dashboard had 4 pages, and this is a good way. And if you're, in case you're wondering what icon can you can use pretty much anything. You can even use an image, if I'm not mistaken. So you can use an icon, you can use actual text for your links, but for now I use these icons as our navigation links to different dashboards. And with that, we are done with our dynamic dashboard. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video and following along with this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And if you want to see more, I hope you stick around. But with that, we are done for today. Have a nice day and happy creating.